Hi one and all. So in the previous classes, we were learning about how to deal with mouse and keyboard activities, right? And in the last class, we learned an interesting feature of UI Path Studio, or in other words, we learned about one of the important tool which comes with UI Path Studio called UI Explorer, right? So why this is important means because this functionality or this tool will gives us the flexibility to customize the selector, means it helps us to change the attribute values of the selector so that we can able to choose or a target or specify a specific target UI element for the robot, correct? So this is what this is why this tool UI Path Explorer is important, and we understood how to customize the selector, or in other words how to change the attribute values of the selector so that we can able to select the specific target UI element with a simple example in the last class itself, right? So and we learned how actually the selector will looks. This is how the selector will looks, and usually it will uses an hierarchy like this. First line always represent the top of the, or I can say it will recognize the application at a top level, then a layer below like a menu option, then the editable area in case of notepad. This is the selector in case of notepad, and this is exactly in the same way it will display, or it will, the selector information will be displayed in this form for any specific target UI element, clear? And we learned how to use the tool functionality in UI Path Studio in the last class itself, right? So in today's class we shall learn an interesting concept called how we can able to handle events, and we shall try to revisit the recorders. How many types of recorders that we already have seen in the previous classes? 4 types, right? So one is basic recording, desktop recording, web recording, and Citrix recording, right? So today's class I will try to explain how we can able to handle the events, and then I will try to cover up to a recorder called desktop recording. Clear? So this is the objective of today's class. So we shall start today's class with the events, right? So according to the author, an event will occurs when some action is performed at Sims. Action means it can be an writing an hello message in the dialog box or in the output panel, or performing any computation operation. See, all these are an example for action. Or clicking, make it simple, still simple example is a mouse click button, or pressing any key in the keyboard. See, all these are examples for actions. So an event will occur, it seems, when some action is performed, it seems. And there are 3 types of events in Sims. One is element triggering event, then image triggering event, and system triggering event. Now we shall go one by one what is element triggering event means, and we shall learn this practically with the help of the tool. And if you understand this thoroughly, then the other two are very similar to the previous one, clear? Now we shall see what is element triggering events means. See, according to the author, see, this triggering events deals with the clicking and key press events it seems. Clicking means mouse click event, and key press event means pressing a key in the keyboard, clear? Okay, now we shall focus on first click trigger, then we shall focus on key press trigger, clear? So now there are steps over here, so which should be followed by you in order to explore the element triggering events in UI Path Studio, clear? So what the author is telling, before using the click trigger, we have to use an activity called monitor events it seems, and then only you can use click trigger it seems. That's what the author is telling here. So without the monitor events, the click trigger cannot be used it seems, clear? So first we need to add an activity to the designer panel called monitor events, and then you have to use click trigger it seems. Okay, and there is steps here, so I won't read these steps in order to save the time. Directly I will jump to the practical implementation, and I will explain all this in the practical explanation it seems, or in other words with the help of the tool, clear? Okay, this is very important, I will come back to this. Okay, at a high level, once again I will repeat. So monitor events has to be dropped first to the designer panel, and then you have to add a triggering event called click trigger, and here you need to specify the target UI element, and in the event handler you need to specify the action systems. It means see here you will specify the UI element which should be monitored by the robot. I will tell you what is monitoring means. I understand at a high level. So here we have to drop the activities which should be monitored by the robot. Clear? And when the robot observes that any action on the activity specified this in this area, then it will execute the action specified in the respective event handler. Clear? So this is what you need to understand at a high level first. Don't worry if you have not understood here, I will explain you that with the help of the tool. Clear? But one more important point before going to understand that is okay, again, to save the time, I have taken an empty project or a sequence, right? Okay, which is the activity that we have to use according to the author, called monitor events, right? Okay, I will just in the filter box I will type monitor events. Can you able to find any activity here called monitor events? No, right? See, this is very important. That's what I said before understanding this. I said something about handling the actions, something about monitoring. Correct. So this is very important. Make a note on this. Say earlier version of UiPath or UiPath Studio, or specifically 2018 earlier versions of UiPath Studio were supporting an activity called monitor events. So after 2018, I mean the released UiPath Studio, which has been released after 2018, right? Those tools will not does not has an activity called monitor events. Instead of that, you need to use an event called trigger scope. Clear? Okay, this is how the trigger scope will looks. So make a note on this. Okay, in order to okay, I think now it is, we will have an, see, this is, we have as we can easily look how that actually trigger scope will look. Clear? So this is how trigger scope will look. So can you see one section here called triggers? Can you see another section called actions here? Right? This was, see, there was no an activity called trigger scope earlier, I mean in UiPath Studio, which has been released earlier to 2018. In those versions you will find an activity similar to trigger scope called monitor events. Actually trigger scope is an higher or updated version of an activity called monitor events. Clear? Okay, and even look at here, in monitor events there was a section here. Can you see a section here? And there was another section called event handler, right? So these two sections has been renamed in trigger scope like this. So here you have to place the triggers or the activities which should be monitored by the robot, and here you need to specify or place or drop the actions which has to be performed when an action is performed on the activities which has been mentioned here. Clear? Okay, I will if you are not clear theoretically, I will explain you practically. Okay, now what is the activity they have dropped here? Click trigger, right? So once again, which is the activity now we need to monitor is click trigger. Okay, click trigger. Okay, I will drop this activity here. Okay, and see here we can monitor the left click, right click or middle click of the mouse. Okay, we shall go ahead with the left mouse button click, and this is the feature. By default it will also include references for the children also, but we will not focus in depth about the children here, but just we will focus how we can able to monitor an event called click trigger, right? Okay, and here by using this option I can specify a target element. Okay, make it simple. I will take a simple example called, let us make this is our target UI element. Okay, now we'll choose that this is the target UI element that we are focusing on, or that we want to monitor which action, or which click, mouse left button click. It means when I click a left button in the mouse, then that action will be triggered, and after triggering that, what actually the robot has to do, that has to be specified in the action section. Clear? Okay, don't worry about this args arguments, event info, trigger arguments. Anyhow, you will see in the coming classes. Just understand, here we are monitoring click trigger, and we are monitoring click trigger on the application called calculator, right? Specifically left click trigger on this calculator application, and once this event has occurred, then what actions the robot has to be performed has to be specified in the action section. Clear? Okay, now I will use a simple message box. Okay, and let us display a message called clicked. Okay, specifically mouse button clicked. Clear? Just make it simple. So I am trying to monitor a click trigger event on the application calculator. When the robot sees that left click on calculator application, then it has to specify the action specified in this action section. Clear? And don't think that only one action has to be specified over here. You can specify n number of actions here, and similarly you can monitor more than one activity here. Clear? Okay, now we shall see how this will work. Now the robot, I am executing the robot is under execution now see here, I am using left mouse button click, but it is not, I am not getting a message called mouse button click trigger, something like this, right? Now see, I am pressing the mouse left button on the calculator application. Can you see here? Now it is performing an action, correct? Now it is performing an action called mouse button clicked. Clear? Again I will press the left mouse button. Again it is performing the action called mouse button clicked, message is been displayed. Again I will click the left mouse button. Can you see here? Now see here, I am performing some action on this calculator application. That action has been monitored, or that event has been monitored, and the action specified under the action section has been taken by the robot. So this is what handling events means. Now we have successfully handled the left mouse button click event. Clear? With the help of this example. And see here, still it will be in under execution mode. You can avoid this by using a break activity, or there is another interesting attribute or a property of this trigger event. Okay, trigger scope. Can you see here, scheduling mode? There is a property called scheduling mode. Actually this is the what I can say important property which specifies how to execute the actions specified in the action section, whether those action has to be executed sequentially or parallelly or only one time. Clear? If you choose only one time, then observe here, then only one time that action or that event will be monitored. One time I have clicked. Okay, can you see the robot has stopped the execution? Clear? So this is another interesting property, or you can use break property here after this, so that it will come out of the execution. Clear? So this is about click trigger triggering element triggering events. How to deal with element triggering events we understood with a simple click trigger example. Okay, but make a note on that. make a note on that. Earlier versions, I mean UiPath Studio earlier to 2018, they were using monitor events, and under these monitor events they were placing click trigger activities. But in 2000, after 2018 version of UiPath Studio, that has been upgraded to an activity called trigger scope, which will usually will have two sections. One is triggers and the actions. Clear? Okay, similarly we shall with this, that is very very important. If you know that, you can easily understand, or you can easily handle all other events like image triggering event or system triggering event, etc., and so on. Now we shall see one more example called key press trigger. Okay, this now with the help of or here we will understand how to deal with an event of pressing any key on the keyboard. Clear? So that's what the author is telling. This event is similar to click trigger, it seems. Click trigger means mouse click specifically. A key press trigger event occurs when keystrokes has been performed on a particular UI element, it seems. So we have taken a calculator as our target or a particular UI element. You can choose any other application or or I can say a button as a target UI element. Clear? Clear? Now we shall jump to the tool to demonstrate key press trigger. Either you can monitor one key press or combinations of key, like something like control enter or control P or control S, something like that. Clear? Okay. So now we shall see how we can able to use an activity called key press trigger. And again I am telling, don't get confused. Previously it was monitor events. Now that has to be placed in trigger scope here into the after 2018 versions of UiPath Studio. Okay, I don't need this. Let the action be remain same, and which activity that here I need to use key press trigger. Okay, let us choose something. Okay, enter key itself, and we shall indicate the target UI element. Okay, F2, resume this. Okay, enter. It means now if I press, after selecting that application, if I press enter key, then it should perform this action. Which action it has to perform? It has to display enter key has been clicked something, or you can put your name also, no problem, just for demonstration purpose. Okay, I am running the robot. Okay, I have selected this. See here, I am clicking the mouse button. Okay, now it is not performing that the action specified in the action section. Why? Because I'm not monitoring click trigger here. Here I'm monitoring the key press trigger. So now I will press enter key. Can you see here? As soon as I press enter key, it will enter to the action section, and in the action section we are just displaying a message called enter key has been clicked. Clear? And since the scheduling, the property of trigger scope scheduling has one time, it has terminated. Clear? Okay, so now we understood how to deal with the key press event. Similarly, there is another interesting concept called image triggering events. This is very similar to click trigger or key press trigger. Here the target UI element will be an image. That's it. Clear? That's it. So now we shall move on to another interesting concept called system triggering events. So usually there are three types of system triggering events. One is hotkey trigger, mouse trigger, and system trigger. See, all these are similar to what the concept that I have just now or in few minutes have explained. It's very similar. Hotkey is nothing but combinations of keys. See here, this event is raised when special keys are pressed. It seems like as I said, Control S or Alt Control, something like this. Clear? So nothing but combinations of keys. Clear? We shall see an example for this. And mouse trigger is very similar to the handling click trigger event. And then we shall see an example for system trigger. Okay. Now we shall see an example for hotkey trigger. Okay, as I said, it is nothing but a combinations of the keys. Even that can also be, see here, that can also be done by using key press trigger event itself. Like see here, now in this case control enter, control enter. Now I don't want control enter, alt enter, combinations of keys like this. Clear? Now hotkey, I think whether, yeah, recently I have used hotkey trigger activity. Just I will drop it here. Okay, now see here, now here I have to press enter with control enter. When I press control enter, then this message has to be performed. Now I am executing the robot. Okay, I am left click, left mouse button click, left mouse button click, right click. Okay, left mouse button click. Now see here, the action is not being performed. Now I will press E enter. Now see, to prove that, just type, see, enter, click enter. Now I am performing enter operation. Again it is not performing any action. Now I have hold control then enter. So can you see here, can you see here, can you see here? So this is how you can handle the hotkey, or you can use hotkey trigger. Clear? So mouse trigger you can be able to use to deal with the left mouse button click, or middle mouse button click, or right mouse button click, like this. And the last system trigger, this event is used when you have to use all the keyboard event systems. Means, make it simple, when you have to monitor mouse clicks as well as keyboard clicks, or only mouse clicks, or only keyboard clicks, or both. Then you can go ahead with the system trigger. Okay, directly I will jump into the practical demonstration, okay, with the help of the tool. So I will delete this. Okay, here I have to use system trigger. Can you see here, system trigger? And see here, if you go to the input property, now can you see here, by default keyboard and mouse will be there. If you want to monitor only the mouse events, then you uncheck this. Similarly, if you want to monitor only the keyboard events, uncheck this. Clear? So that's what system trigger says. Okay, see here, to demonstrate, I am running the robot. Now both the input as well as keyboard events will be monitored, right? Now I am performing. Can you see here? Mouse click, it is displaying a message called enter key has been clicked. Again, so one time, sorry, I was set to one time. If I set it to sequential, continuously it will monitor one by one. See here, once, seconds. Can you see here? Can you see here? Can you see here? Can you see here? So why it is? Because it is monitoring the click event. Okay, again if I press enter key, see here, enter key I am pressing, because it is monitoring the keyboard event also. Clear? So this is how the system trigger will work. Again, to come out of this, either you can use break activity, or change the value of that property called scheduling mode. Clear? So this is about handling events. Now we shall move ahead with another interesting concept called revisit recorder, which you already have aware in the very beginning classes. The job of this recorder is to record the actions performed by the human being on an application, right? So that you can repeat it back, or you can make those actions executed by the robot later on. Clear? So as I said, we shall cover basic recording and desktop recording in this class, and in the next class we shall go ahead with the web and Citrix recording. So basic recording, as the name itself says, is used to record the actions of application that have a single window. Single window means a simple application, or only one application. Example for this is like a calculator or a notepad. Clear? So basic recording uses full selector, it seems. So you already are aware of a term called selector, right? Usually this selector is nothing but collections of attributes with values which specify the target element, right? So full selector means all the attribute values will be specified for the selector in case of full selector. Clear? In case of partial selector, it's very simple and it is straightforward. Not all the attribute values of the selector will be specified in partial selector. That's why it is called as an partial selectors. Clear? And at a high level there are only two types of selectors that we will use to select or to specify the target UI element, called partial selectors and full selectors. Once again I will repeat, full selectors are nothing but specifying the values for all the attributes of the selector, then that selector will become a full selector. In case of partial selector, only few of the attributes values for that selector will be specified. That's why it is called as an partial selector. Clear? Clear? And remember, basic recording is not suitable for applications with multiple windows or for a complex task. Make it simple. So only for a single task, and if you are if you want to automate the task on a single application which has only one single window, not more than one window, then you can go ahead with basic recording. And another important point that you note in case of basic recording is it will use as a full selector to select the target UI element. Clear? Okay. We shall see an example. See here. So these sequences or these two activities, can you see here, type into activity and click activity, has been recorded using basic recording. Okay, and see how type into activity has been specified as a separate activity, right? And click activity as a separate activity. If you record one more action, that also be placed in a separate activity, right? Okay, and if you click on this selector, this will be this target UI element will be specified by using full selector concepts. Okay, I will prove this directly jumping into the tool. Okay, I will empty sequence. We shall take the notepad. Okay, let us assume this is our target UI element. Okay, and which activity recording I need to use? Basic recording. Okay, basic recording. I will perform recording operation. Okay, I need to select this, and I have to type hello. Okay, if I need, I can choose empty field or not, then press enter. Then press enter. Okay, then something click activity, don't need, no. Okay, I will stop here itself, escape. Okay, save and execute. Okay, just I have recorded two actions using basic recording. Okay, can you see here, this is what the author was telling. The one of the action will be placed separately and another action will be placed separately, however it will be sequential, one by one. Clear? So if I click on this selector, can you see here, this is full selector, means it has used all the attributes. Can you see here, all the attributes, and values for all the attributes has been mentioned here. Even for this, if you click on selector, can you see here, all the attributes. That's what full selector means. Clear? So these are the important points about basic recording. And in case of desktop recording, this is very similar to basic recording with added advantage of working with multiple actions. It seems, means make it simple for automating desktop applications or for automating a complex task. Then you can go ahead with a recording option called desktop recording, and desktop recorder uses a concept called partial selectors, not full selectors, as in case of basic recording. Okay, and the partial selectors have some hierarchical structure, it seems, means some relationship will be there, it seems. Okay, we shall see what is that relationship. If you look at that relationship, it will look something like parent-child views, it seems. Okay, now we shall see at a high level. See here, this is what he is saying that, okay, these are the actions that has been recorded by using desktop recording. First, it will use as an activity called attach window to attach the target UI element, and then can you see here, type into, click, see all this has been placed under this attach window. That's what hierarchical relationship means, or a parent and child relationship, it seems. So this happens in case of desktop recording. We shall see practically about this. Okay, I will remove this. Okay, I will take an empty notepad. Okay, I will go to the tool. Okay, I will delete this. Okay, I will go to the desktop recording. Okay, I will start recording performing the actions. So here, okay, I will type hello as usual. Okay, I want to empty, then after that, okay, as usual, close. No, okay, just that's it. Okay, I will press escape key. Okay, save and exit. Clear. Okay, okay, okay. Now see here, previous case, the type into activity was placed separately, right? Okay, and click activity was being placed separately, right? Now see here, this click as well as type into activity has been placed under this attached window for notepad. Can you see here? Can you see here? This is what the author was telling, that there will be some parent and child relationship will be there in case of desktop recording, and if you look at the selector, it will be a partial selector. Can you see here? So previously it had I think approximately 3 lines, but here it is using only 1 line to what I can say, to choose this target UI element. Clear? Okay. This is about a little bit. We learned a little bit more about basic recording and desktop recording in this class, right? So in the next class we shall see about web recording and Citrix recording. Clear? So before concluding this session, just I will recall what we learned in this class is we learned how to handle the events. Okay, specifically we learned how to deal with element triggering event, image triggering event, and system triggering event, and then we learned, or we relooked two recorders called basic recorder and desktop recorder, and two important differences between these basic and desktop recordings is basic recording is used for automating a simple application or an application which has only one window, whereas desktop recording is used to automate a complex application specifically running on desktop. Clear. And basic recording uses full selector concept, whereas desktop recording uses partial selector concept. Clear. And here there will be some hierarchical relationship will be there, whereas here the activities are independent. Clear. So this is what I was planned to explain in this class, and in the next class we shall see about web recording and Citrix recording. So thank you one and all.